Today, we're diving into a story that plays out on two totally different scales. One story is this grand tale of cosmic discovery, how we figured out the laws that run everything, from galaxies billions of light years away to the very beginning of time itself. But the other story, that one's a lot closer to home. It's the wild, often violent history of our own planet. So let's get into it, this tale of two histories.
For the longest time, this was our picture of the universe. All the way back in 340 BC, the Greek philosopher Aristotle, he knew the Earth was a sphere, but he and later the astronomer Ptolemy put that sphere right at the dead center of everything. The sun, the moon, the planets, all the stars, they all circled us in these perfect heavenly orbits. And honestly, it made sense. It was a neat, comforting picture that put humanity exactly where we felt we belonged, right at the heart of it all. But well, that cozy, human-centric view of the universe, it was about to get completely blown apart. So the first part of our story is all about that journey, how we went from thinking we were the fixed center of everything to realizing we're just on a small rock in a vast, dynamic cosmos.
And this, right here, is where things get really interesting. Sir Isaac Newton, he didn't just track what the planets were doing, he actually explained why. In 1687, he had this incredible insight that the force pulling an apple from a tree to the ground is the exact same force that holds the moon in orbit around the Earth. Just like that, the universe wasn't about divine perfection anymore. It was about universal, predictable physical laws that applied to everything, everywhere.
Okay, so for over 200 years, Newton's vision was king. It just worked. But then, this guy, Albert Einstein, comes along, and he doesn't just tweak the picture, he completely tears it up and starts over. See, in Newton's world, space and time were like a fixed background, a stage where everything happened. Einstein said, no, space and time are actually part of the action. They're woven together into this single fabric he called space-time. And gravity? Get this, it wasn't a force at all.
What Einstein figured out with general relativity is that a really massive object, like our sun, literally creates a dent, a curve, in this fabric of space-time. So the planets, they aren't being pulled by the sun's gravity, they're just following the straightest possible path through that curved space. The classic analogy is a bowling ball on a trampoline. It makes a big dip, and if you roll a marble nearby, it'll circle around it, right? That's basically what we experience as gravity. Mind-blowing.
So, just as we were wrapping our heads around the idea that space and time can bend, Edwin Hubble drops another bombshell. He was looking at distant galaxies and noticed their light was red-shifted. It was stretched out, kind of like how the sound of a siren changes as an ambulance drives away from you. What did that mean? It meant all those galaxies were rushing away from us, and the farther away they were, the faster they were moving. The universe itself is getting bigger. Our cosmic story has a beginning, and it's been expanding ever since.
So think about that. We've developed this incredible ability to look out into the cosmos and understand these unbelievably huge scales. But what happens when we take that same powerful focus and turn it back inward, onto the history of our own little corner of the universe?
All right, so the second act of our story, it's not a tale of calm, predictable orbits. Oh no, it's a story of chaos, of catastrophe, and of just how fragile life can be. This is the history of extinction.
You have to realize, back in the early 1800s, the very idea that a species could go extinct was radical. But this French naturalist, Georges Cuvier, he was studying these gigantic fossilized teeth from an American mastodon, and he just couldn't ignore the evidence. Here was this massive creature, way too big for any predator to take down, perfectly built for its environment, and it was just gone. He argued that Earth's history wasn't this slow, steady story. It was punctuated by sudden, violent disasters that just wiped the slate clean.
And you know what? Cuvier was absolutely right. As we've dug deeper into the fossil record, we found that mass extinction isn't an anomaly. It's a recurring theme. At least 5 times in our planet's past, some cataclysmic event, whether it's giant volcanic eruptions or the famous asteroid that took out the dinosaurs, has completely rewritten the book on life, wiping out most of the species on the planet each time.
And this is where that second story, the history of our planet, comes crashing right into our present. Because today, a huge number of scientists believe we are living through the 6th mass extinction. And this time, the cause isn't some random act of cosmic chance.
The name they're proposing for this new era is the Anthropocene, the age of humans. It's a time where we, one single species, have become the main geological force shaping the planet. And here's the kicker that separates this from the Big Five. The cause of this 6th extinction event isn't an asteroid, it's us.
So how exactly are we doing this? Well, it's a perfect storm, really. We're pumping so much CO2 into the air that we're literally changing the chemistry of the oceans. We're chopping down forests, leaving animals in these tiny, isolated islands of habitat. We've hunted species like the great auk completely out of existence. We're shuffling plants and animals all over the planet, creating what some call a new Pangea, where invasive species can just wreck local ecosystems. And on top of all that, we're warming the planet at a terrifying speed.
And the potential result of all this, it's just staggering. According to scientific estimates, by the time this century is over, we could lose somewhere between 20 and 50% of all living species on Earth. That is a catastrophe on the same level as the ones from deep time, but it's happening in what is, geologically speaking, the blink of an eye.
So this is it. This is where our two stories, our incredible expanding knowledge of the universe and our devastating impact on our own world, collide. And what they create is a really deep, really troubling paradox about who we are.
On one side of the coin, you have this, a quote from the brilliant Stephen Hawking that just perfectly captures the ambition of the human mind. The idea that we could reason our way from thinking we were the center of everything to potentially understanding the fundamental theory of the entire universe. I mean, wow, it's the ultimate achievement of our intelligence.
And then, on the other side of that same coin, you have this stark warning. The exact same species that's capable of knowing the mind of God is, at the same time, changing the planet so fast that we're causing a mass extinction, one that could easily end up including us. Our intelligence has given us this unbelievable power to change the world, but maybe not the wisdom to control what we've unleashed.
So here we are. We're the species that can look up at the stars and figure out our place in a 13.8 billion year cosmic story. And we're also the species that's writing a truly catastrophic chapter for life on our own planet. The question that this tale of two histories leaves us with is a big one. Can the same reason that unlocked the secrets of the universe be used to write a different, better ending for our own story here on Earth?